living inside the spinal cord, a neuronal odyssey.
Enjoy.
I'm standing at the dorsal root entry zone right now, and let me tell you, the traffic here is insane. Thousands of primary sensory neurons are dumping their neurotransmitters into the substantia gelatinosa, and the second-order neurons are firing like crazy.
You think you understand the spinal cord? You've seen the diagrams, you know the tracts, but until you've lived here, watch the signals flow in real time, you haven't truly grasped what's happening. So come with me. We're going deep, entering the grey matter. I'm in the dorsal horn, now Rex lamina 2, specifically. This is where nociception gets its first processing. Look around.
See those small interneurons? They're not just relay stations, they're performing gate control right here.
Watch this. A C-fib just released substance P and glutamate into the synaptic cleft. That postsynaptic neuron is depolarizing, about to send pain signals up the spinothalamic tract. But wait, here comes a massive beta fiber signal from the dorsal columns.
It's activating an inhibitory interneuron, and
there, GABA release.
The pain signal just got suppressed. That's why rubbing your elbow after you bang it actually works. It's not placebo, it's Rex lamina to doing real-time signal integration. Now follow me deeper, into lamina 9 of the ventral horn.
This is where the alpha motor neurons live, these massive multipolar neurons with dendrites spreading like oak trees.
Each one innervates an entire motor unit.
That one right there.
It controls 2,000 muscle fibers in your gastrocnemius. One neuron.
2,000 fibers.
When it fires, they all contract. The white matter highways inside the tracts, okay. We're entering the white matter now. And you need to pay attention because this is where everything you memorize starts making sense. I'm climbing into the fasciculus gracilis part of the dorsal column system.
We're surrounded by these thick myelinated axons, all running in parallel like fiber optic cables.
Every 1-2 millimeters, there's a node of Ranvier, that gap in the myelin. That's where the action potential regenerates.
Sodium channels are packed here, over 1,000 per square micrometer. The signal literally jumps from node to node saltatory conduction. We're traveling at 70 meters per second right now, and we won't stop until we hit the nucleus gracilis in the medulla. No synapses. This is a direct line from peripheral receptor to brainstem. That's why proprioception is so precise.
Now, let me show you something different.
We're crossing over to the lateral funiculus, the lateral spinothalamic tract. Notice how these axons are smaller.
Less myelin. That's because pain doesn't need to be fast, it needs to be persistent. These signals crawl up at 20 meters per second, but they decussate in the anterior white commissure within 1-2 segments of entry. Come here, look at the anterior white commissure right now.
See that second-order neuron crossing the midline?
It just received input from the left side of your body, and now it's joining the right spinothalamic tract.
This is happening in real time.
This is why contralateral pain sensation exists. The descending command corticospinal drama.
We need to move fast. There's a signal coming down from the motor cortex, and I want you to see this.
We're in the lateral corticospinal tract now.
These are the axons from Betz cells in layer V of the primary motor cortex, some of the largest neurons in your entire brain.
They've traveled down through the internal capsule, through the cerebral peduncles, through the pyramids, and 90% of them decussated at the pyramidal decussation. Here comes the signal, watch the action potential propagate.
Node to node, jumping down the myelin sheath. It's traveling 80-90 meters per second. This particular axon is heading to segment C7, and it's going to synapse directly onto an alpha motor neuron that controls the finger extensors. And there, the terminal bouton just released glutamate. The motor neuron's membrane potential is rising, it's summing multiple excitatory postsynaptic potentials. It needs to reach threshold.
And there, action potential generated. That signal is now racing down the anterior root, through the peripheral nerve, heading to the neuromuscular junction.
That's voluntary movement.
That's how you type that last message.
Motor cortex to spinal motor neuron to muscle in 15 milliseconds. The glial landscape, the real power players. But here is what they do and emphasize enough in textbooks. We are completely surrounded by glial cells, and they're running this show. See that astrocyte?
Its processes are wrapped around every synapse in this area.
It's not passive, it's actively taking up glutamate from the synaptic cleft using EA to transporters. Without it, that glutamate would cause excitotoxicity within hours.
And look up, that's an oligodendrocyte.
One cell body, but it's sending out processes that are wrapping around 50 different axons right now, creating the myelin we've been traveling through.
Each wrap adds another layer of membrane, up to 150 layers in some places. That's not insulation, that's engineering.
The G ratio is optimized at 0.6 to 0.7 for maximum conduction velocity.
And those microglial cells patrolling the parenchyma? They're in their ramified state now, constantly extending and retracting processes, surveying for damage or pathogens. But if there's an injury, they transform into activated microglia within minutes, phagocytosing debris, releasing cytokines, recruiting more immune cells. The clinical reality. Let me show you why this matters beyond the exam. See this area we're standing in?
This is the lateral corticospinal tract at the C5 level.
If this gets transected, complete severing everything below is paralyzed.
Everything.
Because there's no alternative route. The rubrospinal tract can't compensate in humans, it's vestigial. But watch what happens if only half the cord is damaged. Brown-Escort syndrome. The ipsilateral corticospinal tract is destroyed, so voluntary movement is lost on the same side.
But the spinothalamic tract already crossed, so pain and temperature are lost on the opposite side. Dorsal columns stay on the same side until the medulla, so proprioception is lost ipsilaterally.
One lesion, 3 different deficits, 3 different patterns, because the architecture determines the pathology. And syringomyelia.
That's a fluid-filled cavity expanding right through the central canal, destroying the anterior white commissure first.
It wipes out the crossing spinothalamic fibers bilaterally, creating that classic cape-like loss of pain and temperature while preserving touch.
The structure explains the syndrome, so that's the spinal cord from the inside, not as a diagram,
not as a list of tracks to memorize,
but as a living, firing, integrating structure where every millisecond millions of signals are being processed, modulated, and transmitted. You already knew the anatomy.
But now you've lived it. You've watched the action potentials jump.
You've seen the synapses fire. You've witnessed the decussations happen in real time. Next time you look at a histology slide or read a clinical case, you won't just see gray and white matter.
You'll see rexed laminae processing nociception. You'll see oligodendrocytes wrapping myelin.
You'll see the exact architecture that creates the clinical reality.
Because structure is function.
And now you know both neuroanatomical deep dives where we live inside the structures we study.